In today's video, I'm going to be getting into the work in progress balance changes in Clash Royale. Remember, these are work in progress, so they're not finalized. They are subject to change, so be sure to leave your feedback in the comments below or on social media where there's a high chance Clash Royale will see it and maybe make some adjustments as needed. But I'm not going to lie, guys, these work in progress balance changes look very good. And we're on Excel this time. I remember one time I was reviewing them on PowerPoint. They sent us the information on Excel, so I figured I would just record it on the raw, basically, information that they sent us. I didn't make any changes to it. It's just exactly what they sent me, so we'll see how this goes on Excel. Berserker, guys, is the first nerf. She's getting a damage nerf, a 5% damage reduction, going from 102 to 97. Definitely was one of the stronger cycle cards recently, so I do think a 5% damage nerf to the Berserker is pretty fair in my opinion. Next up, guys, the Bomber is getting a hit points nerf, going from 332 to 304, so an 8% hit points nerf to the Bomber. That is very interesting. I wonder if that means the Bomber's going to die to Log now. I guess it's a possibility, or Barb Barrel. That's possible. I think maybe there's a chance it'll still stay alive. I was not expecting the Bomber to get a nerf. Definitely a surprising one because the Berserker is very strong. Bomber, on the other hand, I feel like that's debatable, but they decided to tone it down a little bit. Another strong cheap card. Next, guys, we got the Furnace. They decided to give the Furnace a movement speed nerf. So it's basically going from slow to medium. So essentially, they decided to nerf the movement speed, which I guess is kind of interesting. I don't really know how I feel about that. I was looking to see if they gave a reasoning for it. They didn't. So that's an interesting way of nerfing the card. I was not expecting that. I think maybe a range nerf would have been better, a way to nerf the Furnace and Evo Furnace. And I don't even know if the Furnace itself really needed something. I feel like the Evo Furnace maybe needed it, but the regular Furnace, I don't know, but they decided to, I guess, nerf the movement speed for both. And spoiler, guys, there's a ton of nerfs on this sequence of balance changes here, and buffs were not really their priority this time, so it's a massive set of nerfs. Next up, guys, we got the Goblin Drill, which is getting a nerf. So basically, the first Goblin spawn speed is getting reduced, so it was 800 before. It's going to 1,000, basically, a 25% reduction. So this is surprising, especially if they don't buff the Evo Goblin Drill. I think this one maybe was not very deserved if they're not planning on buffing the Evo on the same list, because then the Evo is just going to be even worse, basically. I guess that's kind of my reasoning behind that. But it is true the regular Goblin Drill is quite strong, and it is currently the best cycle win condition at the moment for sure. The Goblin Hut, guys, is getting a hit points nerf. It's going from 1,228 to 1,180, which is a 4% reduction in hit points. Kind of a small nerf, definitely very deserved in my opinion, because it has been the best building recently, especially non-Evo building. I mean, the Evo cannon is better, of course, but when we're talking regular buildings, Gob Hut has definitely been the best recently. And it looks like, guys, the Goblin Giant is getting 3 nerfs. This is pretty insane. So they're nerfing the hit points of the Goblin Giant, going from 3,233 to 3,020, a 7% hit points nerf. But then they're also nerfing the Spear Goblin range, on the backpack, and then also the Spear Goblin first hit speed. So they're nerfing the range from 5,500 to 5,000, so a 9% reduction in the range. And then the first hit is going from 400 to 500, a 25% increase in the first hit speed. So that's a really big nerf. And the Spear Goblin nerfs only affect the Spear Goblins in the Goblin Giant's backpack. They are now consistent with regular Spear Goblins. So I never knew that. So you mean to tell me that the Spear Goblins in the Goblin Giant's backpack were better than the regular Spear Goblins? Okay, that actually makes sense then. I never even knew that was the case. That's a little confusing to me. So the Goblin Machine is getting a rocket damage nerf, going from 391 to 304, 22% nerf, and then the hit points is also getting reduced of the Goblin Machine, going from 2,304 to 2,150. So a double nerf. Rocket damage and hit points. Wow, that is going to be a lot worse. I don't want to say it's completely dead, but it's going to be significantly worse now. There's no question. The guards guys are getting a first hit speed nerf. It's going from 400 to 500, so 25% increase to the first hit speed. That is very significant. They're going to be a lot worse. No question about that. That's definitely going to help balance the guards out a lot. I think that's actually a very good way of nerfing them. And the minions, guys, they nerfed the hit speed as well, going from 1,100 to 1,200, a 9% nerf to the minions' hit speed. I believe that's how they nerfed them before, so they decided to give it another hit speed nerf because they realized it wasn't enough. And that also affects the minion horde, which I think is fine because the minion horde has been well above average recently. And I still think the minions in the minion horde are going to be better than they were before they got the range buff by a lot. So I don't think anyone needs to be that concerned about this nerf they gave to the minions. I actually think a very smart way of nerfing the guards and the minions. These skeletons guys got a hit speed nerf, going from 1,000 to 1,100, a 10% hit speed nerf. And this also nerfs Graveyard, Skeleton Army, Skeleton Barrel, Skeleton King, Tombstone, and Witch. Well, maybe that's a tiny bit of a mistake for cards like the Skeleton Barrel and... Well, the Graveyard is very good. The Graveyard is very good, but the fact that it affects also the Tombstone, Skeleton Barrel, Skeleton Army, maybe debatable, but they could always buff those later on. I think the fact that they're nerfing the Skeletons in the Graveyard is very good because those have been problematic cards for a very long time. And the Vines, guys, is getting a duration nerf. It's going from 2,500 to 2,000, 20% less duration. And then the total damage is getting reduced as well, going down by 9%. So the tower damage is only slightly affected due to rounding, apparently. But it's getting a damage nerf and a duration nerf. That's going to make it balanced, I would say, maybe even weak. That's a really big nerf, especially having both of them. Maybe just the duration alone would have been enough, but maybe it's impossible to nerf the duration without nerfing the damage. But either way, nice way of balancing out Vines, I think. The Evo Baby Dragon, guys, is getting a nerf. It's basically just going to 2 cycles, and it looks like that's it. I think that's a great way of balancing it. Don't really know why it was 1 cycle in the first place. Maybe they needed to make some money. I don't know. But that's a great nerf for it. Evo Cannon, guys, the barrage damage is getting reduced by 14%, going from 353 to 304. Great way of nerfing the Evo Cannon, in my opinion. 11% damage reduction. I really like that. It's basically been the best Evo in the game recently. They're nerfing the Evolve Goblin Cage. They're removing the bonus hit points, going from 1,187 to 1,080. A 9% nerf to the Evo Cage. Okay, well now it's for sure going to be one of the worst Evos in the game, without a doubt. The Evo Valkyrie, basically they're doing the same thing. They're removing the bonus hit points, so it's going from 2,096 to 1,907, a 9% reduction. So it's basically the same as the Evo Cage. They just wanted to give both of them the same stats as the regular cards, which I think is very deserved, especially for the Valkyrie. The Evo Gob Cage might be on the weaker end after that. The Evolved Wall Breakers, guys, finally they're nerfing this card. This evolution has been good for way too long. They're nerfing the death damage to troops. It's going from 291 to 258, an 11% reduction. The tower damage is only slightly affected due to rounding. A very deserved nerf, in my opinion, and a great way of nerfing them. The Evolved Witch, they're nerfing the healing per skeleton. So she's going to be going from 76 to 64, a 16% reduction. I think the Evo Witch is probably going to be debatably dead now after this because she was really good in the first place because of the Vines. I actually don't think she really needed a nerf, but that's debatable, I suppose. The Royal Chef is getting a hit points nerf. It's going from 2,921 to 2,703, 7% nerf to the hit points. Definitely not going to kill the card, in my opinion. He should still be good in a couple beatdown decks, but it's going to make him more balanced and not significantly better compared to the Dagger Duchess and the Cannoneer anymore, which I think is the goal of it. The Rage guys, as well as the Lumberjack, it looks like, and the Evo Barbarians and the Fisherman, it looks like, are all getting the same thing. Look at this, guys. They're combining so many cards here. So the Rage, the Lumberjack, Evolved Barbarians, Fisherman, Giant Snowball, Ice Golem, and Ice Wizard are all getting a nerf. They're all getting a nerf to their boost and slowdown percentage. So basically, it's going from 35% to 30%. This affects all cards using Rage and Ice Wizard buffs. So All of these cards, guys, all of these cards here, you can see that are grouped together, are getting a nerf to their boost and slowdown percent. So the Rages and Lumberjack aren't going to be boosting cards as much, but then the slowdown for all the slow cards is being reduced as well. So like the Snowball, for example, Ice Golem Wizard, that is very, very interesting. I kind of like that overall, but there are a couple cards, for example, like the Ice Golem, you can make the argument it didn't really need that, but I guess they did it to make it consistent with the others, which I think is fine. And then, guys, the Battle Ram, the Dark Prince, and the Prince, and the Ram Rider, and the Evo Royal Recruits, these are all getting bug fixes. So this isn't even considered a buff, even though the color's different here compared to the nerf. They call this a bug fix. So basically, it no longer instantly attacks after the charge is interrupted. So I guess what that means is when something stuns it or resets it, or maybe a log knocks it back, it's not going to immediately attack. It still needs time to basically kind of reset and have the full amount of attack speed, essentially. So if I'm seeing this correctly, I think it means it's a nerf, because if it no longer instantly attacks, it means it's worse for these cards, which I guess is a good thing overall for most of them, especially things like the Prince and the Evo Royal Recruits, things that people have been complaining about for a very long time. So I think it's overall a good thing. And it says here, we're fixing a bug present in all troops with the charge mechanic. Before, if their charge was interrupted at any point, the troops' first attack would happen instantly, regardless of charging. This was the most obvious when Ramrider and Prince got instant hits on towers or troops within a few frames of being destroyed. With this bug fix, if the troop isn't charging, they will now always use their first hit speed. This bug fix will go live with the update a week before the rest of the balance changes. Oh, so this is happening this month, I'm pretty sure. So be prepared, guys. It's happening this season. And I think that's it. So let me know, guys, what you think of all these balance changes. This overall, though, gets like a 9 out of 10 for me, 9.5 even. This is like the best set of balance changes we've had in a while. They really addressed all the cards that the community has been complaining about, and I really like this bug fix as well. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. You can use creator code BOSS to support me in any Supercell game, and thanks again until next time, guys.